Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sea of Souls, our live stream D&D campaign brought to you by the Elder Brain. That's us. We are the Elder Brain. Sadly, we are short one. Mr. Mike, Mike is ill, so we wish him a speedy recovery, and which means that I'm running stream again as I run the game and run stream. So once again, I ask for patience with the technical stuff. That's I can do it, but Mike's the whiz at all of that. So I'm okay at it. But yeah, thanks for checking us out, and thanks for joining us. If you're joining us on the Twitch, don't forget to subscribe, or at the very least, give us a follow, and check out our link tree, the address of which is on the bottom of the screen there, and you can find links to all of our socials and all that stuff. Catch our VODs weekly, when we do weekly sessions on our YouTube. So do all those things because you want to, and that's how the internet works. I think I covered all the things. Yeah, cool.
I didn't notice any glaring omissions.
No glaring emissions. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I asked for money. I told them to subscribe. I told them to follow us. Um, you're all wonderful people. There we go. I'll cover that as well. Just make everyone feel good. Okay, I think I've done all the social influencer stuff. So back to being my nerdy self.
Back to being a normal person.
That's right. Get all that out
Well,
of the way.
let's not go that far.
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't call myself normal, but that's okay. Anyways, we are in episode 75 of our D&D campaign, and we wrapped up a particular campaign arc with the Owen Neild arc last week. And with the ritual complete, with Owen having been reincarnated as Spade, the turtle, it remains to be seen whether or not Umbra sees your contract as being fulfilled, as Umbra did not receive Owen's soul, thanks to the intervention of Diane and how that whole ritual went about. And you recall that he sent some of his ghouls to try and interrupt things, but you were able to defend Diane and complete the ritual. And you wake in the morning after. You return to the Last Post Lodge, and after Torque had some late night biology discussions with Spade,
Yeah.
bringing him up to speed on the life of a turtle and all that entails. Some drinks and merriment, some food. In the morning, you find that Spade has left. He's gone, and Diane. She seems a little bit sullen, but joyous at the same time. There's a bit of sadness, as she understands that her friend is moving on, and she's not really sure whether she's ever going to see him again. And he's different. He's still him, but he's not, and so she seems to be wrestling with that. But there is also a sense of satisfaction and joy that she was able to rescue his soul from Umbra, and return him into the embrace of Marantha, whom he still wants to serve, but in a different way. So he has moved on. You also wake to find a note from Dinar. As most of you kind of got a little bit of extra sleep, a little bit weary from the previous day. And the captain informs you that he's really been feeling this pending appointment with the Gungram Navy kind of pressing on him. And so he has decided, before anybody else can sort of say, I'm coming along, or dissuade him, he's decided that he's going to go and take care of that. And so he is headed to the Gungram consulate here in town.
Are we wanting to, or do we still have our seamings up? And do we want to refresh that before he heads out?
Good question.
We could say before he does that, like if you want to do it the night before or first thing in the morning, he could just do it. Like he could be like, oh, I better take care of it. I think it's
lasts for 8 hours.
8 hours. So it would they would definitely be off. So if you do want those, we could say he just does it because he's like, oh yeah, it's wearing off, and he just takes care of that
Sort of before he goes.
before he
While we're
goes.
still all passed out.
Yeah,
Talon I think is going to suggest that it's still a good idea, mainly because if there is another him in like a hospital ward somewhere, it's not going to be great if somebody who knows he's there all of a sudden sees him just walking around.
yeah, that'd be a little bit weird. Sure, okay, we can say that's taken care of then. So with Dinar taking care of that business, and with the Owen chapter behind you, there are a few things that you do have to attend to here in town. A couple of them involving Serena. So she has mentioned that she has a couple of contacts or a couple of different things in town. One is the records and the archives that she managed to uncover from the catacombs of Glumcoven, of her order. She's brought those with her, and she informs you that she called in a favor, not a personal one, but from her order, for the Museum of Antiquity, where they actually have lots of libraries there. They've got space, which would be perfect for laying out these scrolls, and they've got kind of they've got translation tools. They've got, basically everything you would need to pore over this information and figure that out. So she's secured a sort of private little archive room there. And she also mentioned when you first arrived that she's got an artificer contact in town, who she calls an inventor, kind of in quotes, but says that he actually has something that might be of use against Triskades. He was a little bit tight-lipped about it, but she considers him trustworthy enough, and suggests that he could be a contact as well. So there are those few things to take care of. Obviously, there's the Talon clone lying in the infirmary at Wavesong Temple. So you can attend to that. Diane would accompany you on that one. Or you can putz around town and see what's what. I put a note in there that there are a number of notice boards up around town. There does seem to be things happening. As in a city this size, there's always things happening. So if you'd like to distract yourselves with something else, there's always that possibility as well. So gentlemen, I leave it entirely to you. It's a fairly sunny morning, a little bit of clouds, but it's the start of a new day, a new chapter, more or less.
What do you think? Divide and conquer?
Each of us split up and do one thing.
We'd certainly get more done.
Yeah, but I kind of want to, see. This
Safety
is
in numbers.
Talon's stomping grounds. I want him to show me the sights.
Well, let's see. There's the alley where you can get shanked. That's the gutter where
You get shanked.
You can fall in. And that over there is the dumpster where you can get some good eats.
My kind of town. All right.
I figure I think it's better if we stick, stay cohesive, if only because I know a lot of the back ways in and easy ways to get around the city. We could probably save time just by having me show you and navigate around rather than all of us splitting up and potentially getting jumped by someone. It's not like we don't have any enemies or anything.
Very well. I can see the logic in that. Where to first, then?
Well, we'll see.
I imagine that you're probably quite interested in the other you currently being held at the Wavesong Infirmary.
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't, but I'm also in no hurry to dive into that particular deep end.
Seems like a weird thing to procrastinate, though, don't you think?
I don't know. So does leaving an island when you could just do it.
You have me there.
Yes, I do. Let's see. I mean, Trascades, Museum of Antiquity, Gungrim Artificer, Lagrak. I mean, that all seems pretty good. I don't know, but I mean, checking the notice board might not be the worst idea to maybe get the lay of the land of how the city's been. I mean, it has been a while since I've been here, and you know, we don't want to accidentally stumble into something without having some level of idea of what's happening. As tends to be the case every time we enter any kind of civilized area on the Sea of Souls. You know, maybe this time we go in and when the factions start arguing, we actually know what's happening.
Where's the fun in that? Live in the moment. That's what I say.
Well, the fun is in knowing which side is fighting for what, and so how you can then, what you can then say to just increase the chaos rather than blindly stumbling around. It's more pinpoint rather than scatter, as it were. A minute meteor versus a fireball.
Interesting. I got to ponder this
So
methodology.
I'm thinking we head to the notice board, and then from there we could go check in with the Serena stuff. I don't know. This clone thing, I feel like I kind of want to have our general arcane knowledge guy around for that.
That's fair. I mean,
as good at magic as you are,
I was gonna say,
you know,
he's certainly not going anywhere anytime soon. So,
well, that's the thing. I mean, whoever that is, you know, he's not leaving, and you know, who knows? We might need one of Dinar's occasionally useful spells. Because you know, Flick, you only have useful spells. But
well, there is
the problem is of course that sometimes when you're thrown into a situation where, you know, it's a bit of a niche, you know, a one-off, then you want to have those spells that are considered to ordinarily be useless, but actually have a use in this scenario. So having Dinar with us for a very strange scenario is probably for the best. Plus, the two of you bump your noggins together and can pretty much solve just about anything magical. And a second opinion is always nice to have.
This is true. I could use the young squire's advice from time to time. All right, notice board it is.
Okay.
All right, and we'll do so now. Remember, act casual like, and we immediately move in the most suspicious and ostentatious manner known.
Like arms locked.
Yeah,
on the yellow brick road.
Oh,
Here we go.
So, let's take you to the map here.
Ooh, looky.
So you would figure that outside of town, there's probably not much in the way of sort of the official notice boards. There's probably a few things up. But your best bet would be to head kind of into the Drolia district where, you know, with the theaters and with kind of, there's always a crowd. There's always people wanting to know what's what. That's probably a good spot to find a rather up-to-date notice board. And so...
Makes sense.
You find there's one kind of set at almost every intersection, as major intersection in the city. There's billboards, there's criers, town criers kind of going through, you know, passing off this tidbit of information or that. And there's always the urchins, the panhandlers trying to claim that they've got, you know, the latest tale for a copper. And Tayland, having grown up on the streets here, you know that 99% of these urchins and the like claiming to have news, it's all fake. It's all nonsense because they're just in it for the coin, and they're trying to lead people to where more of their coin can be pilfered. So you know not to trust the urchins who are saying, you know, I've got a latest scoop, you know, just a couple, and I can tell you the news. And they'll send you down a side street, you know, to a back alley where there's people waiting to take the rest of your coin. So ignoring all the people who are claiming to have this tidbit of information or shocking news, avoiding all the clickbait, you head right for the notice board that's got.
My God, it's full of ads.
So many ads and pop-ups.
There's some interesting stuff happening. Flick, one poster gets your attention right away, immediately. There's a few others that you guys notice as well. Let's take you to the notice board.
Uh-oh. I know that face.
So, Flick, you see a sketch of Experiment X03. With a note added there for a reference. And the sketch looks accurate enough that somebody has seen X03. This isn't, some rumor. This seems to be very, very specific. And the entity seems to have been spotted in the forests south of the city doing something, roaming around.
How far are we from where we were?
You are very far. For overland, you'd probably be a few weeks travel by road. And you teleported there, so clearly X03. Now you do remember that X03 kind of walked right through walls and
Sure.
disappeared. And so it does seem that to have some sort of phasing, teleporting, non-standard means of travel. But for it to have come this far quickly does seem interesting.
Hey, check this out. Recognize that mug? And it ain't mine for a change of pace. Huh.
I think Jack is. You might be muted there, Jack.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Torque was just saying, quite a talented sketch artist to get the intricate runes and patterns down so accurately. I suppose this is our unfinished business.
I mean, to a certain degree. Wonder why it's lurking around here.
Doesn't seem to have harmed anyone, or else I feel like the poster would have mentioned it.
I have no sense of value of money, seeing as we're apparently filthy rich. Is 1,000 a lot or a little bit?
It was a lot in my time, and I don't think the value of gold has changed much since then. Although I do agree that we are rather loaded. I do feel like we may have a certain obligation to see this one to conclusion.
You know enough, like you've been around enough now, Flick, that based on rewards and stuff that have been given out, that's a lot. So 1,000 gold was what Captain Boone was paid for the full shipment of iron across the sea to the Ivory Spire. So, which, given the state of that, like that's a pretty big contract for that type of thing, for something like a bounty that seems to be up there. And you can see that there's another bounty actually just above it, talking about some creatures in the sewers for 500 gold, which is, even that is a decent sum. So doubling that reward for one creature, they seem to understand that it's very dangerous.
Now refresh me. Were we all incapacitated or were fighting at half strength or something? This thing was flying away and only 2 people were fighting. I don't remember why.
So no, XO3. There was the
Oh, that was
Cacklian that
the
you guys fought, the big
Yeah.
tentacle shelled slug thing that was in the air, that you managed to take out. XO3 was the experiment that was down in the lab, the cell underneath the enclave. Who
We kind of just left that one on account of the building was burning down around
it
us.
was burning down, and it also, rather than engaging in fighting, so it was in sort of a like a stasis field, and once that broke, the crystals broke, he just kind of like left, appeared upstairs. The goblins upstairs, along with Killian, were mentioning that this thing just appeared, and then it just walked right through the walls and just left, seemingly going who knows where. So it didn't engage in hostility with you as the other goblin, unfortunate goblins down there did. It just kind of seemed confused, was asking questions. It asked you what your name was. You asked it what its name was. It said irrelevant, and it just kind of left.
Wasn't the implication that XO3 might have previously been a goblin that Flick may have known?
The understanding, well, it was definitely a goblin.
Yeah.
That had been experimented on. So not all of the goblins that were encountered. Some of them were definitely ones that Flick had known or recognized, including the other one in there that had been experimented on, and changed it into some other experiment. But you didn't get the identity of this one. There's no facial features. It gets totally covered in this sort of rune-covered armor. So any actual skin or features is completely hidden. But it did seem to have some sort of recognition of you, or at least acknowledgement. But it didn't seem to have any.
I mean, we could put the poor sucker out of his misery, but I mean, we do have, saving the world type stuff on our roster as well. Dance card's kind of full.
So a couple other items on here. There's mention of some strange creatures in the sewers. There's a very poorly written note about a tournament. Doesn't seem sketchy at all. Mention of an escaped prisoner. A rather detailed poster for a magic shop. And healer needed, specifically asking for clerics. Which you kind of pass over. It's like, well, none of us are clerics. And then there's a royal decree, which is indicating that the cryptorium, so Talon, you would know that that's sort of the main burial ground within the walls, within town. It includes both there's graves, there's tombs, crypts, there's catacombs underneath the city. That's where the pyres for cremation are, but it seems that entire thing is currently sealed off, is off grounds, off limits, by order of the
I can't
Rygard,
imagine
aka
why.
the king.
Don't know why that would be the case.
So Talon, you know that the term Rygard, that's actually king. That's basically the title, the position.
Okay.
Rygard Altus Ukilian II is the king. So that's what you find on the board.
Well, we can at least be aware that the undead are probably still a problem here as well. I guess there's a lot to do if we want some money.
We were just discussing that. We don't exactly have much need for money at this point, but some of these
I am very curious about this tournament, though, I will say.
I had some thoughts about that as well. We'll certainly be needing powerful allies for what lies ahead. And considering that we are quite flush with gold at the moment, it might be a bit underhanded, but we could enlist for the to try and poach some of these other competitors for our cause.
That's a fair point. There is something to be said for gaining allies.
Yeah, as long as we're not, in about 3 days' time, fleeing this town with it overwhelmed with black goop, then we're making progress.
By the same token, I do think that we should probably look into the toward gestures as nonchalantly as he can to the bottom left poster. That does feel like a loose thread that we should probably pull on.
Well, I'm not sure we need to jump at any of this immediately, but it is good to have all of this in mind. Um, particularly the fact that the cryptorium is currently off limits.
I mean, that's just like an invitation to like go poke around, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think I assume we can figure out. I assume we can at the very least make an educated guess as to what that might be, considering that we have previously visited a city where, again, the cemetery was off limits, and we found out why. So, I mean,
it might be good to see how good the walls are around it, just to make sure that when everyone's up and about again, they're not getting out too easily.
Question for the DM.
Mm-hmm.
The faithful of
Marantha.
Marantha are buried where?
So those who serve in the temple are entombed in the temple. The temple has its own crypt for servants in one of the lower levels. But worshippers, other people would all be in the cryptorium. It's for the whole city. So you've never. I would say Taylor's probably never been there, but you know that there are levels of catacombs under the city, and there's tombs within. So there's kind of, there's cryptorium houses both nobles, those who can afford kind of mass burial in the catacombs. The poor are cremated there, so everybody is dealt with at the cryptorium. There's the unusual exception here and there, like some noble families will have members of their families entombed, on their own estates, or within one of the temples, specifically if they're, they pay for it.
But the poor are cremated.
And yeah, those who can't afford the burial rights are cremated. But it's you know that the one thing that this city does very well is it cares for the dead, rich or poor, with like even those who are poor or those who are unknown, they're cremated, not just kind of thrown in like there's ceremony, there's blessing done over them. Like they take it all very seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I would say, Talon, you would know that the walls, like the crematorium is its own ward, essentially. Like it does have very thick, high walls that surround the entire thing.
Okay. Then, yeah. I mean, good to know. I don't think I'm not in any mood to go fight a bunch of sludge zombies right now. But let's best be aware that at least it's starting to go down here. And also, apparently the forest south of Allenhold is dangerous. That's information we didn't have before, so I call that a win.
Taylor, what do you make of this Kazdith Thyron? Is that does that name mean anything to you as someone who used to live here?
I don't know, does it?
You can go ahead and give me a history check if you would like.
I might as well. That's 21. Wow, I rolled very well.
Wow.
21. You do recall the name Kazdeth. Not as a infamous murderer and terrorist as this billing portrays him as. But you do remember a rather infamous thief by the name of Kazdeth, who came and went from Valenhold. He had some contacts with some of the local street gangs and urchins in the city underground, as it were. I'd say you never, like, you didn't know him personally, but you knew enough of his reputation that seeing him listed as infamous murderer doesn't necessarily surprise you. It wasn't necessarily his shtick. Thievery and the like was more, but he was a very violent individual who didn't really seem to have too many qualms or morals.
He was a thief when I was here. We occasionally would bump into each other, but seems life continued to not go well for him.
Moving up in the world, as it were.
Yeah.
What you do note there is that it says that he escaped en route to Valenhold, so that he was captured elsewhere and was being brought back to the city when he escaped.
Interesting.
Maybe he's in the woods south of the city. Wouldn't that be convenient?
You think maybe they're
A
colluding?
2-for-1.
Put Kazdeth in southern.
I have never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Who, Kazdeth in the woods? Yeah.
Hmm.
He is the forest.
No, Kazdeth and XO3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've got what we needed here for now. We'll we'll keep our eyes open, but I don't think there's much else that we can look at here.
Okay. So what would you like to attend to? What would you like to do?
So I guess let's head over to. Do we have a way to look at that board again if we ever need to?
I'll take a shot of it and put it in the Discord
Okay.
in the campaign notes so that you guys have it.
Yeah,
for reference.
just for reference.
Yeah, I'll put it in the Discord for you guys. Sweetly.
So I guess we'll head over to the Museum of. Are we supposed to meet with Serena or just go to the Museum of Antiquity?
Serena
good
would
question.
she would accompany with you. So
I see.
she's at the Last Post Lodge, and basically she would come
Well,
with you.
I feel like we can knock out
to
2
go
and
there.
3 on our list together, because they're both related to Serena, and we can kind of
Mhm.
just progress what we know about Trascades at the very least, and then because I mean, if the dead are rising, we know what's causing that problem, so maybe we can get an edge here before it becomes, another another veil or tier or whatever
Okay.
whatever you want to call it, Valtier.
So, you head to the Museum of Antiquity.
With Serena.
So the Museum of Antiquity is in the Guilds District. Way down here. Talon, again, you would know of it. But given your station and position in the city, would not have been in it. These buildings down in the gallery district are art galleries and museums and places for, the rich to put their curio collections, and there's some archaeologists who have, some labs and stuff down here where they, go over historical findings and the like. It's basically where all of history is kind of collected. There's also the Grand Library, the Royal Library in this district, which is under heavy guard. It is open to to members of the public with appointment and those who, you know, would be seen as actually having necessary business in there. But the fact that you, Serena has taken you to the museum and not the Grand Library would indicate how difficult it is to get into the Grand Library, since she was able to call in a favor for one, but not the other. And she does seem to have enough connections where she can call in favors here and there, if not through herself, then through her order. As you walk through the city, I'd like all of you to give me just an insight check, just a general insight check here.
Sure.
All right. Insight. 15.
And 15, 15, 15. Yeah.
I also got a 15.
Together we total 45, though. So that's really awesome.
Okay. So one thing that you notice, I'd say Talon, probably especially because it's been a long time since you've been here, but this is your home, more or less. This is where you're from. Everybody's a little bit on edge. There just seems to be that general sense of unease, like not specific. It's not to the point of, you know, suspicion yet, or like, you know, or panic. But there's just that general sense, you know, you catch snippets of conversation, you know, worried chatter here and there. People kind of, you know, moving quickly from one place to the next rather than strolling. There's definitely a layer of tension.
Got like a late February 2020 kind of vibe to it. Is that the
That takes me back.
Not to bring up. Oh, sorry, everybody. We'll put a content warning. Yeah, it's just like there's unease, right? Where people seem unsure about themselves. People seem like, just put off a little bit.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, yeah. And you notice that in pretty much every district. As you to make your way to the museum, you have to pass through the Fortune district, down through the arenas, and even in the arena district where there's usually lots of games and stuff going on. You know, parlor games, side games. There's still the normal hustle and bustle, but there's just that kind of, every now and then people are just kind of looking over their shoulder. You can see people checking, you know, those who are carrying weapons, you know, kind of checking themselves or checking their purses. It's just there. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any one specific cause. I mean, you do know, obviously, there's some stuff going on from what you've seen on the board. You were notified that there was an attempt on the life of one of the princes, which is why the magic registration is currently in effect, because the arcane arts were involved in that. So there are things that are going on. The cryptorium being closed as well would definitely have people kind of curious and feeling ill at ease about that. So putting all that together is kind of set everybody just off a bit. All right.
I mean, we'll just kind of keep your eyes on your coin purses and your backs.
All right. So as you head to the Museum of Antiquities, the very first thing you notice as you approach is that the building has been styled in a sort of ancient manner. It's been made to look like a step pyramid, which I'm trying to think which of you would probably have seen that kind of archaeology. Flick, you probably would have seen. There are some ruins in the jungles in Careful, sort of some more ancient ruins that you'd probably see something along the likes of that. Torque in your travels might have seen them here and there. The Before the deluge, this area was, giant landmass. Lots of ancient empires kind of had their rise and fall in the Western Dare here, and so there's these types of ruins are scattered all about. And so the owner of the museum has stylized the building to look like one of these old step pyramids, and complete with, it doesn't look brand new. It looks like a ruin. It looks like that somebody like picked up a ruin and plopped it down here. Serena meets one of the guards at the gate and hands up a note. They kind of look you all over. All right, come on this way, then follow me, please. And lead you inside. The inside is anything but ruined. It is grand. There is a massive skeleton of some unknown creature that is hanging from the ceiling in the main gallery. And on either side, lining the walls, are all kinds of things. There's pottery and shards of architecture, different blocks of ruined buildings, some with script on them. There's like ancient frescoes that have been uncovered and brought here. You see a couple sarcophagi on one side. It seems less like an official collection though. This isn't something that the city runs. Clearly there's a well-off sponsor who's kind of curated this collection. And so it's a little bit mismatched. There's not really a sense of like, here is the Eastern Darelands section, and over here is like the Egypt quarter. It's just stuff is kind of wherever. There's just a little bit of everything all over the place. Marble floors. There's a couple of trees that have been brought inside to kind of, give it that airy feel. Lots of lights up high. There's mirrors used to reflect the lighting around to really kind of give it that bright feel. And as you walk through, there's, your footsteps actually kind of echo on the marble floor. And ignoring all the patrons who are out and about, which there's a few, there's people. You can see a couple who look like scribes, or perhaps even researchers they've got their notebooks out or sketchbooks, kind of looking at a piece and taking notes, or making, drawing copies of what they see. There's a couple of more like noble visitors kind of walking around, snootily pointing at things, pretending to know what they're talking about. Like, oh yes, I recognize that stone there. It's about probably 13th century. Talon, you know this type.
Yeah.
They're all
Flick
talking.
is waffling between angry and confused as we're going through this place. Like normally, a thief or a tomb robber doesn't put all of his crap on display like this. This is weird. Why would you go and take an ancient burial shroud and hang it on your wall? Like that's important to someone, isn't it? And on we go. So as we're going through and I'm pointing out all the things.
Sure, yeah.
I think as Torque is going to be like listening to Flick's confusion in silence, and then just kind of feeling like increasingly guilty about his own past life as an appropriator of things that don't belong to him.
Yep. Gotcha. You're led kind of away from the sort of gallery proper, and there's a set of stairs off to one side that have a rope across them. It says employees only. And the guard actually moves the rope and takes you down the steps, and leads you down into the archives of the museum. And here you see, rather than the displays and rather than this isn't even where they keep like the artifacts and stuff. This is clearly the owner of the museum. They seem to have a rather large collection of books and scrolls and like as well. So so you're led into a library. Let me transition over to that. All right. Oh. Why is it not loading? Sure, give me 1 second on that. All right, while it's loading for me, waiting in the library is an interesting individual. She's got very pale skin and seems to have elvish features. You can't see the ears under the hood, but kind of very narrow face, pale skin. She's got a hood up, scholar's robe, kind of tattered looking robe. And she immediately recognizes Serena and goes, it's been a long time, but it's good to see you, Serena. And Serena introduces this as Desindra, who's a scholar, one of her contacts that she knows, or through her order, that this is basically who she's called favor in. Desindra says, please come in, and leads you towards a central table. There's all these books all around, and there's a table that's it's got like paper scattered and stuff about it. She kind of moves a bunch of them off, and just kind of looks at Serena and says, I'm very curious as to what you've brought me, and any help that I can be in deciphering this. Then of course I'll do what I can. And Serena starts to pull these books on the table. You do notice that standing around the sort of raised balcony that's got books on and stuff as well, there are a number of guards standing by on duty, just not watching you. They're just there, and you get the feeling that this is sort of protocol, that given the nature of this place and the value of its contents, that it only makes sense that there's going to be guards pretty much everywhere, like security in a museum, right? They're going to be kind of keeping stock and watching. Right, this is still not loading for me, so just give me 1 second, guys.
No worries. Um, I feel like we should say something to fill the
Just
fill the dead
void.
air.
Yeah.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Maybe my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey.
I do love
it's
a little. I do love a good notice board in D&D.
Notice boards are great, and they're underused these days. I really like that about the
Yeah.
Essentials Kit adventure.
It's one of those things that like it could come across as tropey. Like it's one of those things that you have to be really like genuine about. Like I like as I've gotten older, I've definitely kind of come to be of the mind that like the less like ironic and sarcastic about things, the better. Like even if something is kind of like overplayed, if you do it genuinely, then that still shines through.
Mhm.
All right, sorry guys, I'm on kid duty as well as stream duty, so
Mm.
job of a parent. Okay, so in the library here, the name doesn't show. There we go. Now it should.
Not at all how I spelled that.
No,
Good attempt.
good Elvish
I'm
name.
sure.
Yeah. So Desindra, it's good Elvish spelling of it. So you see that what Desindra has provided alongside the space here. She's got some magnifying tools, ways to kind of bookmark pages and even some tools for opening scrolls without touching it, like, to kind of preserve the scrolls. And what Serena pulls out of the satchel that she's brought with her seem to be a collection of very old scrolls. Like some of them, the parchment is in very rough condition. And as she lays these out on the table, she kind of looks up at all of you. So time to come a little bit clean. These are never supposed to be removed from the catacombs. They are fragile, as you can see. But given the importance of what we're about here, I figured it was necessary to bring the actual items along rather than just some copy of them.
It's in the spirit of the building we're in, apparently. Steal stuff and bring it here. All right. Old stuff.
Interesting. Well, it's more that this place provides a better, a safer environment, both away from prying eyes and also to actually care for these documents because they are quite old and some of them are fragile. Some of them I'm not really. Well, there's one actually that I didn't want to open. It was the case that it was in was alongside some other tomes and texts that date back to not directly to the First Age because we really don't have any notes from the First Age, but these appear to be copies, scribed copies of works of the First Age, rumored of the First Age, which is something because any information of the First Age is few and far between, and what can be trusted is hard to know. So Desindra, this is really what I was hoping that you could help us out. And she pulls out this one scroll again that's got like tattered edges on it, and she kind of lays it down on the table. And you see Desindra instantly, like she's got that like anticipation of a scholar where she's like, oh yes, this is a very ancient specimen. Sorry, that's Serena's voice. Desindra, not British. This is a very interesting specimen. It's very old, I can tell. With your permission, I'd like to open it. I'm very curious about the contents. You haven't said anything about them, and you see Serena actually kind of look at the rest of you. Well, as to the nature of what we are investigating, I will leave that to my companions here to fill you in on what they deem is appropriate. So you remember she has information about Triskades or things potentially connected to Triskades. Any mention of him specifically from the past is what she was looking for to try and find any information she could about him or the Void Gates. So how much you want to tell Desindra, I leave it to you.
How much do you know about the end of the
yeah.
world, lady?
It depends on which empire, which civilization's version of the end of the world we're talking about
The
here.
one that's about to happen.
About? I'm afraid.
Well,
Serena, what? And she kind of takes a step back and takes her tools back for a second and just kind of looks at you like, this is a joke here, right?
well, read on. You're about to learn all about the dude who's about to do it.
Read on.
All right. I'll get to work on this. It's going to take me some time to open it. So if you have anything else that you want to deal with, Serena, and your friends here, then please. I don't want to rush this. I really want to take my time. I can already feel some of the parchment ready to just crumble. So I'm going to need to treat it a little bit first, if that's okay. And Serena just kind of gives a nod. So Desindra moves herself off to one side of the table, and very carefully starts. You see her kind of looking over it with magnifying glass, and she pulls out a couple of vials of some substance, you're not sure, and takes out a very fine brush and even just starts like gently kind of going over the edges of the parchment, and you can see like some coloration on it, and it seems to soften it up a little bit. She's none of your scholars, but you can get the idea that as you see the parchment softening, she's hoping to open it without breaking it. So she's treating it in such a way so that it softens it, so she can actually move it without it just breaking off in her hands.
I might not be a formal scholar, but a interested amateur. Flick's going to be watching what she's doing with some interest here.
Okay, sure.
That's
Sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Torque will also be watching in silence, I think.
Okay.
Not really wanting to disrupt the process.
For sure. So Serena brings out one book and kind of pops it down on the table. And she looks at three of you. So, how much have you been able to discover about the Void Gates on your own? It's been a while. I know Dinar mentioned something briefly about some item that he'd acquired that seemed connected to them, or that you guys had found. But I'm curious to know, before I tell you anything that you already know, so to save repetition, what have you discovered?
I mean, I think it's easier to ask what haven't we discovered. I mean, we've been all over and we have found some stuff, let me tell you.
Interesting. Some stuff.
And things. Wouldn't recommend either of them.
Okay. Well, one thing that I can tell you, I found some reference to, it doesn't call them void gates, but there are some references, even some drawings that would seem to line up with sort of the outside gates that we've seen, and these are dating back. As I mentioned, some of these documents refer to the First Age, are probably first-hand copies of works that survived the First Age but didn't survive much longer. So we're talking 10, 12,000 years old, potentially. What you can see here, and she points to some of the drawings and stuff, and there's some of it is in common, although very archaic form of common, so it takes a little bit to kind of piece together. It's like reading Old English or Middle English, where like the S's or F's, words are spelled a little bit different, so you kind of have to look at it and say, what does that mean? But you get the gist of it a bit, enough to see that there's a map, and this map looked nothing like what any of you recognize of the world today, or the Broken Isles. Instead of the Broken Isles, there is a giant landmass, which represents the western half of the continent of Dare. And you see mountain ranges, there's wide open fields. Essentially where the Isles are is just like open plains. There's grassland, there's some steppe to the north, there's a couple of mountain ranges. There's one that runs all the way down what is now Galadriel Isles, where you guys are, right down through the all the way down through the Gungrim area. And it's like looking at another world entirely. But there are marks on this map that at least a couple of them do seem to line up with a couple of the locations that there to be gates, specifically where the Ivory Spire gate to be. On this map, it's like almost like farmland. It looks like sort of that kind of area on this landmass. But there's a mark there with some notation talking about this ancient gate. And she points out, as she's going over the stuff, that alongside many of these gates, there's what are referred to as wells. Not water wells, it just simply says well, but it's capitalized W, capitalized well. And there's not one by every gate, but there's a number of these gates seem to have wells nearby them. Do you remember in Valtir, when we were in that dungeon below? Do you remember that well that was down there? The one where the magic was sort of coming out of it, and the tendrils were reaching towards it.
I think that
Rings a bell.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the places where Torque, you had a divine experience.
Yes,
Yeah, there was
this is correct.
so I don't remember ever seeing it, but the list of known gates, it does say that there is a gate in Valtir, or very near to Valtir, which also has a well. We know that there's a gate at the Ivory Spire. This also mentions a well nearby. One of these capital W wells, potentially in the same location that the Ivory Spire is in. Some of these seem to line up with locations where, well, here, let me show you for one, and she points to one that would line up with where Gungrim is, and specifically the Stormhaven Artificers Guild, which is sort of a magical / artificer school. There's a gate in Stormhaven, and there's a well in that location according to this map as well. And remember what we encountered in that place below Valtir, there was sort of an enhancement of magic. It seemed to be almost a pooling of the weave of magical energy. Could it be that the gates and these wells are all connected, that there's some sort of connection between these specific pools of energy, if that's what they are, or, concentrations of magic or something, and then these gateways? I'm wondering if that makes any sense to anything that you've seen, or anything that you have any insight on that at all, or what you think.
Could be just a power source. Need something to run the gate if there's no one there doing it.
Well, see, that's what I wondered too. Because these wells, this one that we encountered in Valtir, it seemed to almost have a raw connection to the weave, right? There was such power coming out of there, such that well, my brother was well, what had become of my brother, Eddard, was seeking it out, right? He was trying to get to it. Desfuna had managed to keep him at bay, its tendrils from reaching it. But he was seeking it for a reason, to draw on its power. So I can only assume that him being a servant of Terskades being connected to these gates that go to the void, the wells being in here, there seems to be a connection between all of this. The only thing I can't figure out is what? Why? Anyway, I'll leave that with you for a moment. I didn't find any mention of Terskades, which is something I was looking for. But there are accounts throughout history. I began sort of looking for evils of chaos, not the physical ones, not the cataclysms, but other chaotic events or times of madness or unusual occurrences, that sort of thing. Undead, strange creatures, anything like that. And there are a few different titles that appear. One showed up more than once. That there was members of these cults, of these organizations that called themselves the servants of Tregam, I think was one they called. Another one said that they were the cult of the last desolation. And another one refers to themselves as servants of the end. And these all seem to be titles similar.
They all sound like lovely individuals and just great community-minded organizations.
Of course. But see, the thing that draws my attention is that Terskades, he called himself the 13th ending. And in here we have servants of the end. We have, the last desolation, ending, desolation, end. even this Trigam name sounds a lot like Triskades. There's I can't definitively say that there's any connection, but it seems that every few hundred years or so, there seems to be these cults that pop up, seemingly out of nowhere, serving madness, serving chaos. There's even a couple of references to the void, not a capital V like a place, but talking about, entreating the void or embracing the void. That sort of mentality of a very nihilistic, embrace of nothing, or return to nothing, return to chaos. And they seem to rise and fall, and the one thing I did notice, though, is that every time a new cult grew, or a new following, or a new event throughout history, they seem to get a little bit more stronger each time, a little bit more prominent, lasting a little bit longer, having a bit of a wider reach. Until we come now, where we find that Triskades apparently has his tendrils everywhere. I think he's been planning this for a long time. I think he's been growing, seeding something for a very long time, and we're only now seeing it coming to fruition.
I suppose when you're a god, you can afford to play the long game.
Essentially, if you're an infinite entity like him, who seems to not really share our physical limitations, then what is time? I mean, the void, I don't know anything about it. From what you shared with me about when we went through the void gate and you were in that other place, time doesn't really seem to have the same effect there either. And so I guess the question is he here, or is he in the void, or is he both? If he's a creature that is tied to this place where time means nothing, then does time mean anything to him? He could wait 100,000 years or more. And what would it mean to him?
But as I recall, the whole plan is we shut down the gates. He can't get here no more. Problem solved.
That is the theory. Given what I've read from these notes, I'm not so sure that it's a matter of stopping him from getting here, but rather stopping him from getting here fully. It almost seems as though he's got one foot, so to speak, in Eudora and one in the void, that he's here but not fully here. If he were fully here, I'm sure that he would have achieved his goal already. If he wasn't here at all, if he was, completely secluded to the void, then how would he have any influence? It's not even just a matter of the gods being here but behind the veil. The void is some other place entirely. If he was there, how could he have any voice here? How could he have any influence at all? So at least a part of him must be here, or he's here in some way, or he's got servants here that he's able to speak to or communicate through. This is the part that eludes us. I mean, some of these cults talked about, their prophets, or some even talked about lieutenants, the servants of this Trigam, or Last Desolation, whatever. So he's got people. He's got those who serve him. I mean, my brother's an example of that as well. Eddard went from a rather annoying, spoiled, rich brat to somebody truly dark and murderous, and then not even human at all. How did Triskades do that? How did he impact him?
We sure that this other name you found isn't one of his 12 other siblings or whatever? He's the 13th, but there was 12 others, right?
There was?
What a delightful thought.
What do you mean there was 12 others? So you do know something. Where did you get this information from? I found no
I have no idea.
mention about that.
I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Just spitballing, you know.
Yeah.
You found that information from Bronag, the dragon, the ancient dragon.
Oh, right. Yes. Tread lightly there, Flick.
I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, if he called himself the 13th ending,
Hey,
I presume there's
hey.
12 before, but
You gotta give this guy credit. Look at the size of that head. You know there's a good brain in there.
I'm going to assume that there's something you're not telling me, and that's fine. I know that you don't trust me, Flick, and that's hopefully one day that'll change. But okay,
Not
so
any day soon, sister. But anyway,
so there's 12 others apparently. I'm very curious
were.
to know where. Okay,
far as we understand, he's the last. So whether he ate the rest of them or ditched them or what,
Mm-hmm.
could be a consolidating power, and that's why he's so much more juicy this time around.
Juicy. Really?
What a way to put it.
Flick, you always have a way with words.
all right. So
Juicy.
there were 13 in total. The 12 are gone. I really would like to know where you found that information, but fine. It's fine. I trust you. So he's the last. I suppose that could be a name of one of the other ones then. Do you? You don't have to reveal it. What? Do you know when they died? Because these mentions of these names I found are from all throughout after the first age. I mean, this is scattered throughout the second
I
age
wish-
and pre-deluge. Some of them even after the deluge.
And I wish D was here. He knows a lot more about this dragon crap than I do. I was the last dragon
Dragon?
around that time.
Yeah, you know, the time
Big
of the
scaly guys
dragons
that
and all
fly,
Oh,
fire or ice or crap out of their mouths.
You see her just looking at you like, and then she just kind of smiles. Like, so you've got secrets of your own, then. Interesting.
Oodles.
Always so different, keeping secrets. I'm sure you understand then that some things, some types of information are not meant to just be shared with everyone. We all have reasons to keep things under wraps.
Well, he did threaten to eat me if I told anyone about it.
Uh.
So there's that.
You see her eyes actually widen at this. Are you a dragon?
Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
Did you meet a living dragon?
Well, barely.
Flick?
Living is a bit of a
Oh
Bit of a
boy.
Yeah, bit of a stretch.
Uh,
Really hanging on?
whoa.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was the one who was going to have information. You met a dragon. Sorry, you met a dragon? You see her look like the guards who aren't really paying attention, but still she's just kind of like, okay, fine, you don't need to tell me all of that. I really would like to know, but okay, so this dragon says that there was 12 others, but they're gone. I guess it's possible these names could be of others. I would hope that there's not more of them.
The
If there were
strong
13, I'm hoping that
implication
he's the
is
last
that
one only.
that he had defeated or consumed or consolidated with the others. So
Oh, very fascinating. You can see like her mind is just a little bit blown at the moment. She's not every day that somebody just says, "Yeah, we met this dragon," and they told us about all this ancient stuff. She's even for
We
somebody who
really
deals,
we really flipped the script, and now we're just delivering a lore dump to the NPCs.
yeah, even for somebody who deals with like this kind of stuff, like secrets and everything like that, she's trying to process this and seems to be a bit in over her head.
Yeah, but you didn't hear from me, lady. I'm not getting my face eaten for you.
Interesting. While this conversation's happening, Deandra has been like unraveling the scroll very slowly. She puts a weight down on it, opens a little bit more, puts a little bit more. Eventually she gets it open. And there's a scroll within a scroll. Actually, there's the larger scroll, and then there's a parchment that seems to be wrapped up in the middle of it. And Danger's kind of like, oh, that's curious. I wonder why this one's a separate piece, but included. But have a look at this. It's really interesting. It's a bit faded, but I've treated it with a solution here that'll bring out some of the ink. The ink. It really sinks into the parchment over time and sort of fades and loses its vibrancy.
In English, in common, please.
I'm saturating it so that the ink becomes more visible again, darkens, so that we can actually make sense of what it is. Okay, so just
It
give me a
seemed
minute.
fairly straightforward to me, Tayland.
It's come. Here it is. I was catching a little bit of the conversation. I think we found your 12.
Huh?
Is that so?
She unrolls the scroll, and what you see are very rough pictures. They look like sketches of perhaps an old fresco or something. You can tell that this is a type of drawing or type of painting that would have been up on a wall, kind of temple, and it has a title on it, The 13 Desolations of the Void, but you see only 12.
Oh, these look like lovely chaps.
Fine, upstanding citizens, every last
fine,
one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Boy, Defilat has got some issues, I think.
Along with these entities are descriptions. Some of them are hard to make out. You can hear the scholar, she's kind of like briefly going over some of them. Each of them are described as godlike entities, colossal, larger than dragons, larger than anything imaginable, greater than titans. Like these things they are gods, essentially. Like that's the scale that we're talking about here. There's one that talks about Moagrid, for example, as a sphere the size of Belzun, the moon itself. And in fact, if the two of them are in the sky at the same time, it's hard to tell which is which. And so these are
That's not terrifying at all.
massive creatures. And
I didn't even stop to consider the possibility that I might just be able to look up and just see that.
Yeah. And as you're looking at these, she's pulls out the smaller one that seems to have been ripped off, actually, and it is a little bit rougher shape, and she kind of unravels it. Here we go. This would be the 13th, I think. Then, isn't that interesting? She pulls out the scroll, and with it you see the name Triskades. And you catch your first glimpse of what he at least did look like.
Well,
I mean, we've gotten hints.
I was gonna say, this is my shocked face.
I'm a little underwhelmed, to be honest.
I'm not.
So
impressive.
meta. There's a revelation happening at the moment, but
Yeah, no. I was gonna say it's as horrific as I imagined it would be. If anything, this just confirms the terrifying cosmic fear we all should feel.
I thought he'd be taller.
Do I need to make a sanity check?
no. There are names attached to some of these, other than the names that are on there. Akarian, for example, has the names Aeon, Akiad. He's referred to as the World Eater, the Time Ravager, the Prime Desolation. And so there seems to be a hierarchy of sorts, and these are listed in order. So Aeon would have been, or Akarian would have been the first, or the sort of lord of, potentially the strongest of. There's only a snippet of names for each of them. There is where is he? Okumanakuli, for example, also goes by Okt or Okdam, called the Emperor of Entropy, the Death of All Things, and the Grasping Terror. All wonderful names.
Oh yeah,
Defilat.
Triskus was the little
These-
bitty baby brother.
these are great titles.
Defilat is Diech or Diechama, the Watcher, the True Judge, the Seer of the End of the Ends.
Do these guys name themselves, or do their followers do it for them?
Hard to say.
It's
Triskades.
presumptuous to just name yourself.
Triskades on this scroll also has the names Triduga, Triagam, Cthulhuhut,
Uh-huh.
Thulacades,
We're getting warmer.
the waiting death, the last desolation, and the 13th ending.
Can we just take a quill, lean in there, and just write Triscuits?
The
I,
proper naming. Yeah.
you might have your hand cut off if you attempt to touch it, but by the scholar painstakingly seeking to preserve and open this, as well as the guards nearby. But I mean, maybe after. You can see as she's reading this information, Serena seems to be pretty overwhelmed by it as well, but Deandra is just kind of like, oh, what have you brought me? Sorry, the goblin's like, you weren't kidding. You were talking about the end of the world. Did this he?
Welcome to the end of days, kid.
Oh, she sits.
It's the end of the world.
She sits down. She just kind of sits down hard and just like, wait. Desolations, desolate. I've heard this term before.
It really goes to show you just how numb we've become to all this nonsense.
Yeah, for the average people not connected to it, they're like, I'm sorry, there's somebody
Yeah,
who's
it's
ending
like
the world. What?
This is just Tuesday for us. Like
Mhm.
we're just like, oh yeah, the 13 deaths and Triskades, the oncoming storm.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes
Oh, yeah,
sense.
yeah,
It all,
Things are actually starting to make sense now. This is great.
There-
You know what we have now is we have a hit list.
it's nice to put a face to a name,
Mm.
Oh, there is that.
the name desolations, or this term, I've come across this before. It's in some of the older archives. There's strange, almost, it's like mad poetry that talks about the desolations. We always thought that it was connected to some of the evil gods, perhaps, or some of the titans themselves. But these are entirely different entities.
They certainly are
is
entities.
this Triskades? So you're saying he's here now?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we believe him to be here, if I recall correctly. Like
He's kinda-
he's like here.
Yeah, he's just pushing all the dead bodies out of your graveyards and crap. Just little stuff.
The
Raising an
Cryptorium.
army.
The Cryptorium. He's responsible for that.
Uh-huh.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Oh shoot. Oh, you didn't hear that from me.
It's all right. We have some experience with this sort of thing. We were able to put two and two together.
I kind of gather that. Serena, you always bring me really, really interesting things, but this is a lot. Serena just kind of, telling me. I haven't even seen half of what these gents have, and seen enough. So we know. I know he's who he says he is, I suppose, or we have some other names to go by.
Or he's the biggest pretender ever. I don't know.
These
Hmm.
these other archives or these other histories you mentioned. Is it possible to see them? Deandra kind of goes, looks at the guards. Normally I would say no. I'm feeling a little bit of, I don't really care right now. Given the information that you just dropped on me, the fact that the world could be ending. So screw the rules, right? If the world's ending,
That's
yeah.
the spirit.
I could take you down.
Can I give her a quick once over? How well is she actually like assimilating this information? Is she going to crack on us?
That's a good question. Give me an insight check.
Ooh.
'Cause I don't need her going all squirrely on us. 17?
She is definitely shaken. She does seem to be holding it together fairly well. You do sense there is a bit of shock, like she's in shock.
Yeah, I'm wondering maybe
Yeah.
take a minute to acclimate before we go diving into mad poetry.
Yeah.
just saying.
I mean, I probably could take a rest, but then I might come to my senses and then say no. Uh, um. So if you want, if you want to see them, not now. I don't think. Yeah. If you come back, I don't even know if we'll be allowed back in. To be honest,
Well,
This is a
no time like the
lot.
present, I
This-
suppose. Then
Wow. I thought, Serena. I thought maybe you brought me some sort of political, hush hush. But this. Whew. Okay.
Yeah, we are pretty amazing.
I suppose this is sort of political when you think about it from a certain perspective.
Yeah.
Like the end of all governments. Yeah, I guess that is somewhat political.
I think that the end of the world would be a topic of some import to
Mhm.
the leaders of said world.
Dandra suddenly pushes her chair back and goes to get up, and then she goes, carefully rolls the scroll back up, and then puts it back in its case, gives it back to Serena, and shoves it in her hands. Be like, I actually wish that I hadn't have seen this, even though I do. I would be very, very, very careful who you show this to. Okay, let's go. You points to two of the guards. Open the vault. And we're going in. And they just kind of look at each other and give a shrug. Clearly, she has authority. You can tell that she's obviously somebody
Got a
who's.
bit of sway around here. That's.
I mean, she's got a private room to herself that she can come and bring you guys down in. So she's clearly near the top, if not at the top. And to the guards, they kind of move over to one of the doors that's got a number of locks on it. You can see, and they kind of pull out the padlocks. The door opens and you can see there's a second door inside that's got more locks on it. They open those, and that one swings open with a bit of a dust that comes out. Clearly, so nobody's been down here in a while. And you can see a long curving staircase descending quite far beneath the Museum of Antiquities. Y'all follow?
Yeah, throw a light
Yes.
spell up just to make sure that we can see. And
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yeah.
as we head down into the ancient archives, we'll take a break and we will be back shortly. So stay tuned for whenever's coming. And we'll be
Which
right
could
back.
be anything at this point.
Yeah, do the vertagen.
Except for that. Copyright. Well, maybe it's not. I guess it's not.
It's
Anyway,
beginning to look a lot like Fishman.
we'll be right back. So stay tuned. All right, we are back. So, as you are led down these stairs, descending quite deep underground, a soft light does begin to come up the steps. And this place, it's not that this place is never accessed, but rarely. And there's an oddity, there's an oddness about it. And Deandra kind of, at first she was very quickly like, down the stairs, like caught up in the moment, like, okay, let's do this thing. Her steps have slowed quite a bit as she moves down. And she kind of looks back at the group of you. I guess none of you would have been down here before, but just something doesn't feel right. It feels mustier than usual. Maybe that's just my
Would you
nerves.
like me to? Would you like me to take the lead and go down first?
Yeah. Well, if I'm gonna let the guards lead the way here, actually, and she kind of points
Are
to
we
two of
thinking
them.
it's like drier than it should be?
Go ahead and give me
Is that a Marco Triscades that in his presence things get
give me an
unnaturally dry?
arc.
Less damp.
I'd say you could do insight, perception, arcana,
I'll do general perception. I'm not looking into
anything
like
along those
supernatural
lines. Yeah.
stuff. I mainly like taking a whiff of the air, looking around, feeling it with my skin. Like, what am I getting here?
Yeah, sure.
26.
Ooh,
26. Okay. So, as she mentions this, something feels weird. You kind of stop and just feel the air around you, and you know what a library smells like, feels like. You know what
I
archives
do like books.
feel like. And there's an element of that, but there's also, despite the dryness, there's that very faint smell of like petrichor, like post-storm of like rain on the ground, which this seems very out of place. It's there for a moment and then gone, and then it's replaced by that smell of ozone in the air pre-storm, and then it's gone. And then there's that a dustiness, almost like of a desert smell or feel, and then it's gone. And it just like the air seems to just be changing. The more that you pay attention to it, that there's it's like different atmospheres or different environments that have no place inside, and they're just there for a moment, such that before you stop to pay attention to it, they didn't last long enough for you to really catch, to be aware. But now that you're actually closely paying attention, you feel each one of these intimately, especially somebody who's connected to the weather in various ways as you are. You're just like, okay, it's strange.
On guard then, guys. I mean, I've never known a book to be harmful, but it was the first time for everything.
like sort of points his thumb at the his book backpack. It's like, are you sure about that, buddy?
No, well, that's like saying that the bullets in my pouch are harmful.
I mean, you just need the right thing to throw him, right?
That's right.
Gorgus is gonna grumble. Just
Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
maybe we should have gone to investigate the sewers first.
Flick, give me a listening-based perception check with your wonderful
That's an
ears.
advantage.
But think of it this way, Torque. You get a 2-for-1 here.
That's a solid 12. I'm too busy
Okay,
bantering.
what's your passive perception though?
16.
16. Okay, so we'll use that. And it's listening, so we'll say it's pretty heightened. As you see Talon kind of stop, and he's like tasting the air and paying attention to things, your ears kind of perk up, and very, very faintly. Again, it's just kind of like sporadic, so you're not entirely sure if you heard it or not. It's just like just like almost like whispers that like you're like, is this the wind playing tricks on me? Like,
That's creepy. Anyone else hearing that?
I mean,
I
probably
think it's
not.
Creepier if no one else is hearing it also. So that the wind?
Torque,
Yes.
the crystalline growth on you
Oh.
feels warm and then cold and then warm and then damp and then arid
Ugh.
and then warm.
Mm.
Just kind of, again, there's all three of you in different ways are sensing this like very quick rapid fire change of atmosphere, change, hearing something and then not. And it's just, there's an instability is the best way that you all kind of understand that something is messing with, or something is very off about the very environment, the very atmosphere itself.
Does the sensation seem random, or is it almost like
Cyclical?
you're getting warmer, you're getting colder, depending on like what I'm the closest like in contact to? I guess if we're going straight down, then it probably is just random if that's what I'm
It is, yeah.
experiencing.
It doesn't seem to be like there's no pattern to it. It's just, so it's not like the closer you go or move away, it changes one way or the other. It's just like, it just seems almost like rapid fire and random. So there's no order to it. So
Okay.
it's not like wet then dry, then cold then warm, wet dry. It's chaotic. It's without order.
Hey, Dee Dee, how far to the spot you're taking us?
Takes her a second to realize. Oh, you mean me? Oh, okay. We're close. Probably about another 20 feet or so. She's really on edge now, and you can see like she's actually like shaking. She's
Hey,
not
listen,
prepared.
No. Hey, look at your buddy Flick here.
This isn't right. I've been down here a lot. This has never done this before.
Hey, do you mind if I do something for you here? You're looking a little shook up.
But you're feeling all shook up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mind if I'm just gonna put my hand on your shoulder for a second. It's gonna glow for a sec, and you feel a little safer.
Right.
I'll feel a little safer for you.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
gonna cast protection from evil and good.
Okay.
I really thought you were
Nice.
casting calm emotions.
Yeah.
Cool your
I was like,
jets.
I didn't know he had calm emotions.
I thought you were gonna
should.
cast. I thought you were gonna cast snap out of it, but
Yeah. Go full airplane on her.
okay.
Just
Yeah,
here,
she
have drink this tea. It's
she
very
feels she
calming.
kind of feels it. She's like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Did we
Thank you very much.
send a familiar out?
You could do that if you wanted to. Yeah.
Have a look around, Flick.
Sure, yeah. All right.
Shall we familiar it up?
Sure. Paige will appear in my hands. Like, see, look, this is my buddy Paige. Paige, this is Dee Dee. Hold her up. And Paige sort of flaps wings.
I'll reach
Stretches
into
out.
my breast pocket, pull out the little feather, and just. This is Willie.
All right,
She-
Paige, you and Willie, you're gonna race, all right, buddy?
She
Don't you
Deandra
dare
is
lose
definitely
to that.
amused by the paper bird. She's like, oh, that's. I've made a few of those out of scrap parchment, but yours is alive. That's pretty cool.
All right,
Okay.
check this. All right, off you go. So yeah, we'll send the two familiars up ahead and do a little scouting.
Okay. Well, let's just say I'll bring you to this page, and we'll say that you guys are still up on the stairs, but through your familiar's eyes, you will be able to see the archives.
Now, does it usually go that far down, or is that new? Because, like, I've seen libraries, and while they might have a lot of books, I don't know if they
Well, those are
have quite
shadows.
that
I thought
many.
I thought there was a big like spiky tentacles
Oh.
coming out of the ground. That's just shadows. Okay, it's better.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah,
there's
I was kind of taken aback by that as
there's
well.
just there's pillars. Those are pillars that are creating that that sort of shadow effect. So what your familiars see is it's very strange. This shaft, so there's like a hole cut in the floor, and so it does actually go both above you vertically. So there are books going up and down. So this is kind of like a middle, and there seems to be this circular archive. You can see ladders, or your familiars can see ladders going up and down, and there's actually, it seems to be magically animated platforms capable of levitating up and down this shaft as well in order to access the books. There are also a handful of books kind of moving on their own, sorting themselves, you would see. So there's like some on the floor nearby, and it's just one goes up, one very slowly, and then one goes down. They just kind of seem to be going back to places. A couple of the books kind of seem to be starting to move towards, where they're supposed to be going. They kind of get to the middle of this shaft, and they just kind of like almost like spaz out and just kind of like start flapping, and a couple of them you can see just like tear in half, and the pieces just flare down. And it looks like there should be a bottom, but at the moment there isn't.
I'm of course narrating all this to everyone so that we're all up
Right.
to speed here. And it's like, there's supposed to be a floor in this place.
Yeah. Yes, it's pretty deep. It probably goes down about 80 feet or so. And then it
So
goes
not
up
80
about,
miles.
and it goes up. No.
Yeah, I think we got a bit of a problem.
Okay. Torque, is it right?
Yes, that's correct.
Why is your shoulder glowing? And you look down now, and it actually, aside from the feeling of the warmth, the crystalline structure is actually like slowly pulsing. It's never done that before.
Let me roll insight. Do I want to give an honest answer or an answer that will put her at ease?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Insight. 19.
Okay. She does seem rattled, but given all the new information that's coming at her, you get the feeling that not much more is going to surprise her at this point. She's basically just been told that an entity from the void is coming to end the world, and things are going pretty crazy, and so she's kind of like, what else could there be?
In that case, Cirque will say, I will answer your question as soon as I find the cause for it myself.
Okay.
This is my everything is okay light. It glows when everything is okay.
I somehow don't believe you, but I appreciate the effort. Wow, what the hell? And she actually just starts moving down the steps like, You can tell like the description of things the way they're not supposed to be has piqued her curiosity more than her caution now, and so she comes down with the guards. And as you
Or
all
kind of
come
just looks
down,
at Talon and says, she's coming around on this in record time, I think.
Oh, I mean, Flick is a powerful wizard.
you all get the sense that like the shock is basically like the adrenaline is allowing her to kind of absorb more than she normally would be able to. Um, it'll hit her eventually. For now, it's just
Adrenaline is a hell of a thing.
for now it's more just a what the heck. Like I don't know what to do with any of this. So yeah,
Well, let us not be the cowards of the situation.
Yes, on we go.
That's right. After you, Torque.
Yes, that's how we normally do things.
Yes, it is.
Torque is heading down.
okay.
I don't know why you're making it so weird all of a sudden.
We shall all cautiously descend, I think.
So the two guards actually kind of step in first, and they've got hands on swords, and they've got pretty nice armor. It's kind of like a chainmail. Um, it seems to be less. At first, you're like, okay, maybe for show. Like these are museum guards. But clearly they know their stuff. They're prepped, and they've got some enchantments on them. Like whoever owns this place can afford the niceties protection. So these Arcanum guards are prepped for things other than just your random thieves. And so they step forward. They're a little bit shaken as well, but they're seeming intent on their duty, and they're kind of looking around, seemingly aware that things are off as well and not as they should be. One actually kind of starts to walk towards the shaft, and very cautiously kind of looks down over the edge.
And Wilhelm scream.
Yeah,
Just looking down,
no,
and
that's a
then
horrible scream.
reports back. It is true there should be a floor down there, but at the moment I don't see one. It's just black. It's not that far down, even the lights that are currently around here, and there are some lights down there as well normally that would light up the floor, but it is just black. This, I'm not really sure what to make of it. And then she looks up as well. The upper shaft is fine. It goes about 40 feet up. I can see the ceiling up there. The central light is okay, but the bottom...
Should we send down Paige to see if she can see the way to the bottom?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst idea. It's a little boyd on. So there is light in here.
Yes.
All right, so I will cast light on Paige so that I can see down in the dark hole.
Okay. Yeah, so these lanterns around there are set around they've got a soft glow, like perpetual glow, like there's ever burning lights essentially.
All right, so I'll sort of hang back and look through Paige's senses and send her down.
Okay.
Get another sheet of fine paper out, getting ready to fold up a new one.
Okay. As Paige gets to what you assume would be the bottom, as you said, should be about 80 feet down. There is no floor. And it's not exactly just black, though. Give me a perception check for Paige, or you through Paige, I guess is what we're looking at right
Is relying on hearing or sight.
now. Sight.
Well, it's a 13.
Can I get Willie to do anything at all?
Yeah.
Like
You want-
we get Willie in there as well?
Sure.
Might as well. Oh, I'm stuck in a pillar. So if I'm looking through Willie, I could do the same thing.
Yep.
So I'm gonna look around with my parrot eyes. 35 with a nat 20.
Oh, damn.
So
Nothing gets past Willie.
Flick looking through Page, you're not exactly sure what to make of it. Tayland, your keen awareness, your keen senses looking through Willie, where the floor should be, and there's this sort of black, just nothingness. But the more Willie's eyes adjust and you closer you look, it's more like, the best way I can think of it is almost like negative space. There's lights, but they're the wrong color. They're like the opposite, where like they're consuming light. Rather than putting light out, there's light being sucked into these pinpoints. New ones appear and then vanish. New ones appear and then vanish. It moves ever so slowly. There's just a little bit of a variance in what you see. It's not just a solid substance, and so you feel the sense that there's some depth here. This is a gateway,
Hmm.
and it reminds you on a bigger scale of that very small pinprick point of the void that appeared in the ritual circle at the Wizard's Enclave, from which the Cacklean emerged. Although this is much larger. And you do, in fact, after a moment, see a tendril from the just sides of your vision, and another one, and another one, slowly coming towards the opening and working in, hard to tell distance. Distance almost doesn't exist. They're close, but they're far. You just can't tell, but there's something there and it's moving.
Hmm. Yeah, there's something down there. I'm assuming this is all different, right? This is normal.
Like the guard at the top is like, yeah, there's not supposed to be anything down there except for books and the floor. What do you mean there is something? She's got her sword like fully half out of her scabbard now.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think we should first produce me pistol and then produce my rapier.
Torque will have Loving Wrath in hand.
What you gotta shoot the magic portal? Let's think about this for a second, buddy. There's how do we close this thing? How did it get here?
Well, how did it get here, I think, is the more pressing question. And within that question may lie the answer to the first one.
That's the hope, isn't it?
I'm gonna move in behind this pillar and just
Okay.
take a bit of cover as I'm just kind of looking around.
So, Dee, pop quiz here. Who else has access to this joint other than you? Because it looks like no one else has been down here for a while, and yet.
So you turn and look at her, and her eyes are just blank. And she
Not a good sign.
is just kind of standing there, mouth open. Not like you can't even see her pupils. Like it's not she's just staring forward. Like her eyes are actually blank. Like her eyes have rolled up, or something has covered them.
Torque will
And she's
wave a hand in front of her
fully blank.
face.
I assume this is
no reaction.
bad.
Tayland, you see the other guard, not the one that's speaking, but the other one, has kind of stepped forward, as looking over the edge.
Can I
And
like
then-
grab them?
Give me a we'll call this a dexterity saving throw, or acrobatics, I
Sure.
guess. Or
Which one makes more sense, acrobatics or dex save?
I say save because it's a reaction.
Yep, makes sense to me. That's how I usually rule it. 19.
Roll the big dice for this.
Ooh.
Okay.
The big dice.
You managed to just grab the back of her tabard and kind of like pull back.
Black.
And you, just in time, you grab and you see as the other one has actually stepped forward now. And just, you can see at the corner of her eyes, again, her eyes are blank right over, and she just leans.
Whip.
Ay, ay, ay. All right, I will try and restrain that guard. I guess I will.
Okay, so
Too
you're
far
pretty
away to-
far away, yeah.
I will thorn whip.
All right.
That'll yoink
See,
him.
I knew you had something.
So I'll say,
Yeah. Just
so,
hopefully you don't kill them by accident.
so rather than
Okay.
making a thrown up a tap, same thing I'm going to say is you're using your reaction, like you're trying to see how fast you are. So give me a dex save to check. Oh, shoot.
Dex save. All right, here we go.
She's leaning
and
right
bang.
after
How's a
this.
10 work
Oof.
for you?
Ooh.
There's our Wilhelm scream.
Okay.
Yeah.
No scream, but the guard just like leans
If I were
over
to
and starts to just
rage-
go. You're pretty far. I don't think you're
I
gonna
mean,
react in
I
time
can
to
move-
this.
I can move 20 feet as a bonus action.
That's not enough though.
I'd say
Here's a question.
given the fact that you were doing this to Deandra, I
Yeah.
don't think Tor can react in time.
How's Serena looking during this?
Serena, she's the same as you guys. Like she's just like, what the heck is going on? She's got her hand like
Okay, so she's been
one on a dagger and
inoculated.
like one on a sword. She's just like, what is happening here? This guard just like not steps off, like just leans forward and just no scream, no motion, nothing, just pitches right off. And William Page just see her go right down and disappear through the hole and just, and her body instantly, like as she passes through, just kind of like you saw the books do, like kind of like spasms out and like it's just there's a wrongness and it almost seems to like turn inside out and kind of fold in on itself and then just gone.
Yeah, let's not do that anymore. Boy.
So
I'm getting increasingly uncomfortable being in this room.
Can't say it's got a comic presence to it.
Desindra, not Dandra. I don't remember my own names for people.
I'm gonna this guard I've grabbed. I'm gonna try to like pull them back towards Torque.
Does Dendra look like she's gonna make a move for the chasm as well? Like, am I safe to go and assist Tayland without the fear that she's also feeling the call of the void?
So just give me 1 second. I'm doing a thing here. Oh, why did that change that? What just happened? Oh, there we go. I need to roll a wisdom save for her. It was there, now it's not there. Oh, there we go. Disadvantage. She gets a 7. Okay. So you're trying to figure out what Descendra's going to do, and her eyes are kind of blanked over, and you watch as her eyes kind of widen and her mouth like opens in a soundless scream, and her face just continues to like distort, and there's this weird like shivering motion as her body just kind of starts to like, you know, like those horror movies, one of those like kind of like moving in wrong ways, and there's kind of a wispy darkness that like forms around her body, and in one moment there was Desindra, the scholar, standing there, and then the next there is this creature, faceless, tattered robes, just kind of hovering that just turns and looks kind of vaguely in your all direction, while you just lets out this ear-piercing scream that just seems to vibrate your very bones and dig into your soul. Definitely hostile. The guard, Talon, that you had managed to pull back contorts as well and becomes a creature that you have seen before. One of these strange Korags. You've seen these at the Void Gates.
Oh,
These fun
great.
guys.
Oh yes, the Mushroom Men.
And so we are going to roll initiative.
Hooray!
Quick question.
Yes.
Is Syndra gone? Or has she become this thing?
She turned into this.
I'm going to drop concentration on protection from evil and good because apparently it does nothing. And then I'll roll my initiative.
Well, I mean, it gives you advantage. Maybe she just still failed.
Also prevents possession. That's the big one that I was hoping to stop.
So this is not possession. Yeah,
Or
this
immunity to charm. And yeah, there's a list of things it stops, but apparently it wasn't the right things. Which is okay. Boy.
I guess I'll do perception then.
Yeah, sure.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
I'm gonna roll insight just because I'm trying to suss
Although
out.
I'm kind of thinking acrobatics because I was like just grabbed and pulled back,
Oh,
and I'm
they
kind of
got-
like
Yeah.
because
that
I've already perceived the enemies, so
And I'm trying to suss out if they are enemies or what's going on here. So I'm gonna roll insight. Ooh, a solid 9.
I feel like the fact that we're rolling initiative is a pretty good indication in a meta sense.
Well, yeah,
well, we've also already seen them before, so we kind of
Yeah.
know.
more a matter of is she still in there? Are we doing non-lethal damage here? What's the strategy?
I mean, Torque will be, as we assess the situation. In the event that maybe this process could be reversed.
So yeah, my 9 insight says I need to examine the situation a little longer, and then I'll figure it out.
All right. So Torque, as you watch Desindra just turn into whatever the heck this thing is, I'll give a bit of a close up on what we're looking at here. You go first.
Okay. No reason not to rage, I guess. So I will embiggen.
Woo, woo, woo.
With my first attack, actually, I'm going to make a shove attempt to push Serena away from this thing. Just while we don't really know what its capabilities are.
Okay. Yep.
So she can resist this if she doesn't agree with my decision here to push her away. But she will be making that roll against a 28 in athletics.
No, she'll. Yeah, she kind of gets what you're doing. So where do you want to push her? Sorry.
I'll just push her this way, I guess. Just get her away from this former scholar,
Sure.
faceless
Yep.
wanderer.
Yep.
And then for my second attack, I'll actually go for a grapple just to see if there's any sort of like actual substance to this creature
Okay.
that can be pinned down while we try to figure out if it's still her,
Okay.
if it's still Desindra. That was the name, right?
Yeah.
Bit of a worse showing there. That's a 21 in athletics.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna hit the armor class, and it can't resist at all. It doesn't seem to be able to fight back. So you grab. There is substance. There's a solidity to it. It's strange. It's like
It's not just a floating empty robe.
no, it's corporeal, but not as solid as you would expect. But there is something to grab onto. Yeah.
All right, so I'm just kind of wrestling with Desindra's phantom,
Okay.
and that'll be my turn.
Okay. It is its turn, and it is going to. And has advantage on this because you're.
Oh no, that wasn't a reckless attack.
Oh, it
I just
wasn't? Okay.
have
Oh, right. You
no,
just
no.
raged.
I just
Okay.
have advantage on
Yes,
on
right. Okay,
strength
sorry.
checks when I'm raging.
So that's going to be a 19 to hit, though.
A 19 does still hit.
Okay. So you're going to take 6 slashing damage, halved to 3, plus 7 psychic damage. And I need you to make a intelligence saving throw.
Okay.
So even as you're grappling this creature, and it looks at you, and it's an opening appears on its featureless face, and just seems to like you can almost feel it starting to try and absorb something from
So
you.
it was 3 slashing damage plus an intelligence save.
Plus 7 psychic damage.
Oh, plus 7 psychic damage. Sorry.
And an intelligence save.
Got it. Intelligence. Well, that's not very good at all, is it? That's a 9.
No. So you take an additional 14 psychic damage.
Okay.
And I need you to roll. Actually, should I have you? I'll roll it. I'll roll 1d4. Or should I make you roll it? Which is more fun?
I mean, I don't know which outcome is the better one for me personally.
I'll do it. Okay, not bad. Your intelligence score is reduced by 1.
Okay. I'll make an actual note of that, not a mental note, as I was about to say.
So as it opens this gaping hole on its featureless face and kind of you feel it attack your mind, and you kind of wince, and you can feel that it's like a brutal headache, just like piercing through your skull, and you feel a little bit slightly fuzzier as you kind of feel groggy, a little bit groggier. It seems to be eating away, feeding off of your mind itself.
So going from a 12 to an 11 brings me from a +1 modifier to a 0 modifier, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll just create a skill modifier on my character sheet until that's
Sure.
resolved.
Okay. Tayland.
Okay. Well, there's a guy right here, so I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
do have a
want him.
pillar between you and it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that. Somehow I doubt that that's really stopping him a whole lot.
Push him down the hole.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's a portal down there, right?
Seems to be.
Do we want to send him back through the portal?
Mm. Depends where the other end is, I guess.
Fair enough. Yeah. I will. It's kind of leaned up against the pillar, just quietly peer around, whip the pistol, and fire off a nice burst of energy. If it can please give me a Constitution saving throw.
Fair thing. That's a 24.
Well, you know, we tried.
You remember
I
them being pretty sturdy
I
as you
do.
fired, and
I
you're like,
mean,
oh yeah, these things are
listen, I got
really muscular.
there's only so much I can do. I will have it take half damage then. It'll take half of 24.
Okay. Take 12.
Yeah. When the wind rips the tide, I will sail, reach the other side.
Run away.
Make my way over yonder. A nice 30 feet.
Okay.
And did that look like it hurt it?
Oh yeah, I heard
a
it.
good amount?
Yep.
All right.
Not impervious, dude. You just didn't connect as solidly as you hoped for, but
Sure. How far away is Willie from me? Like, is he like just floating above there, or is he like down?
if he was down to see it, he would have been gone about 80 feet down, so he's probably about 100 feet away.
All right, I'll
at
get
this
him to
point.
start getting up here.
Okay.
It'll take him one round to dash 60 feet, I think.
Yep.
I think that's his speed.
Yeah,
No,
we've-
fly 50 feet. So if he dashes, he can get up here.
Yep.
So we'll get him to do that.
Sure.
And then I think I'll hold on. I think I'll hold on to the rest of the stuff I got.
Okay. All right. That'll bring us to Serena. She sees, Torque, that you've got her associate, who, well, she's not really sure what to make of it. So she's actually going to go for the Korg as well, because no personal connection to this ex-guard. So, let's see. She will get. She can see it. It doesn't have cover. She's gonna come hang out with her cousin. And as a bonus action, she'll use aim. And she pulls out from concealed under her cloak, which you had not seen before, Tayland, a gun, a pistol, similar to yours, but with some variations to it. And you can actually see writing on the stock that says Ruckus.
It's a great name for a gun.
And she used aim, so for advantage, that's a 23 to hit the Korek, and that will hit. And boom. So it's going to take 12 piercing plus 1 cold for 13 damage, and it needs to make a con save, which it's really good at. Oh, it just makes it to DC 18. Okay, so it doesn't stun it, but she does manage to get a good shot on it. And that is it for Serena, so that brings us to Flick.
How hurt is that Koreg looking?
It's wounded, like it's not badly hurt. It's taken a couple of good blows, but it's probably 2/3
right.
healthy still.
Then I will open up with Flo. They are both in a 40-foot cube. So they can
Yes,
both give
indeed.
me a wisdom save.
Sure. The Korg is 6.
Fail.
And 11.
That's a fail. You'll love to see it. All right, they're both slowed.
Okay,
No
dope.
multi attacks, -2 penalty to AC and Dex saves. And no reactions. And I
Okay.
will. I think I will go for this one as well. And I will move there. I'll action surge. Booming blade. This guy. 15 to hit.
The Quark? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, nice. And then, sure, I'll dump in Fury of the Small because why not?
Cool.
So
Ooh.
that 38 points of damage.
Yeah. Blasts a couple of holes in it. Whips out some of its flesh sloughs off.
And
Looking rough.
second attack, critical hit.
Oh!
No extra goodies on this one.
Go Flick. It's your birthday.
Um,
Maybe.
How hurt is it looking? I can't see the bar. So.
Oh, is it not showing up?
No.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not seeing them either.
I apologize. Let me throw that up there for you.
All right.
I thought
Then
it was
I will
set, but
throw
yeah,
two
it's pretty
chaos
hurt.
dice
It's pretty hoit. Okay.
on this crit. They get doubled as well. Was a 6 in there.
They did double.
Couple of sixes, no ones. That's a whole ton of damage. That's
Yeah, it
what,
is.
17, 20, 40.
Oh yeah. Obliterates it. And you rolled 6, so you can go ahead and pull a Chaos Harnessed. And it does say immediate, but you already
Your
finished.
attacker spell deals an additional 1d8 damage of your choice of acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, dark,
Nice.
poison, psychic, rain, or thunder.
So I will. I'll say because
Oh, sweet.
because you pulled it on that attack there, that will your very next attack. Then I'll let you. We'll
yeah.
apply it to because the thing's dead. So
And I am done.
let's put that over there. Okay, and
Scratch one.
Korg is down, so it doesn't get a turn because it dead. So Torque.
Okay, I'm going to release my grapple, I guess, because I don't think I'm going to be doing any reasoning with this thing.
It clearly wants to eat your brain.
Yeah, and now that I've discerned that, I didn't establish what my elemental cleaver is going to be, so I'll say it's thunder
Sure.
because it's usually a safe bet. I'll turn Great Weapon Master on for this and attack recklessly. Um, 21.
That'll hit.
Okay, so that is 38 points of magical bludgeoning damage plus
Ooh.
an additional 3 thunder.
Jeez.
And for the second attack, says a 23, which we know hits.
Yes.
So 26, 33 points of magical bludgeoning damage, unless I'm miscalculating.
Correct.
And then 2 points of thunder damage.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Could I potentially attempt to make this a non-lethal blow?
You're okay. How I don't think if that's even possible with its nature and your attack.
What if I say instead of like bringing the hammer down vertically to like squish it, I like do a sort of horizontal swing, and then the impact is like me knocking it into the wall, basically.
Okay. So you're trying to just knock it out.
If it can be knocked unconscious.
Okay. Um so it you knock it back against the wall and it just kind of slumps down to the ground. Uh and seems to be out. But is still there, is not. You
Revert
can't tell if
back.
it's breathing at all because you have no idea what this thing is, but uh it doesn't, the core egg like shattered and kind of evaporated. Like did that weird discombobulation thing that the books and the other one, the guard, did. The Wanderer does not, it remains.
Do you think there's any way that we can restrain that thing in a way that will actually keep it held?
I mean, it's a flying blanket. You tell me.
So the question is that the end of your turn?
Um, yes.
Okay. So at the start of its turn, it regains 5 hit points. Because it has regeneration.
Shucks. Well, shucks.
So it has regeneration. Since it is not dead, it opens its, well, it has no eyes, but it kind of sits up. And it can stand up. Well, it kind of hovers back up. It's not really standing, but it'll use half its movement to just kind of floats back up very strangely.
But remember, its speed is halved because it's still slowed.
That is true. Okay, so then it only, yeah, it can't move forwards then because it only has 15 feet of movement. Well, I guess it would still be half of that to stand up. They can only move like 5 feet, so it'll move to 5 feet. It'll just kind of come forward. It won't get close enough to you, Torque, to use its memory drain. So it'll use memory loss instead. Can I get you to make a wisdom saving throw, please?
Yes.
12. That just makes it. You feel a moment of like your brain is kind of like almost like you're about to black out, like you're about to kind of like, confusion kind of setting in for a second. You're like, wait, what?
Probably not a great sensation to have this close to the bottomless chasm, but
It's like
yeah.
it's like doorway syndrome where you walk into a room and you forget why you were there and what you were doing, and you kind of have a momentary of that where like, what am I? What? And you shake it off. It seems
What was
to
I
be.
doing again? Oh yeah, fighting this thing.
There seems to be a moment where it's like trying to take your memory away to kind of stun you or to kind of incapacitate you, but you managed to shake that off. Tayland, so you hear Torque talking about trying to restrain this thing, and as you turn, you see that it gets back up and still kind of like lunges towards Torque, and you see him kind of shaking off some kind of invisible attack. So clearly, it's still hostile and coming for you guys. What do you want to do?
Right. Don't know if I can do much about like taking it down Like, do we really want to capture this thing? Like, is that what we're going for here?
At this point, I think I've established that that is not feasible.
We are
Very
not.
good then.
We're not getting DD back.
All right. In that case, I shall just pull out the old pistol. Give her a trusty shot. Gather the salt in the air for a 21 to hit.
Oh yeah.
You just need to roll at least a
14
5.
piercing damage.
That'll do it. And I don't think you're trying to be non-lethal with
No.
shooting it.
I shoot her with my gun, non-lethally.
With the rubber bullets this time. It's fine.
Let the
The,
storm roll on wild. I was born for this.
Okay, why is it? So, sorry, I just noticed for some reason OBS keeps popping me back to out of combat, and I'm not really sure why it keeps changing scenes on me, so I apologize.
Oh, weird.
It is very strange that it's been doing that, and I don't really get why, because I'm not changing it at all. So, yeah, that's very weird. Yeah, it evaporates into tatters and just in mist and kind of just is gone. And you're left with the void at the bottom of this hole. The spirits of the guards, the very sudden and strange death of the archivist, the scholar, and everything is really strange. And Flick, that whispering voice that you had heard sounds again, and this time it's a little bit clearer. Kind of seems to resonate, echo around the hole and up. I sense more powerful minds than the feeble creatures that were here before. I am very curious to know what your memories taste like.
Whiskey.
There was another entity which spoke similarly. The creature that emerged through that void pinprick, the Cacklian, that talked about feeding off of minds. And Flick, you get the sense that this entity is very much of a kin, but there's an even greater power to this voice. You can feel the ancientness. You can feel the strength in this thing's voice and its mind and how it's communicating. So this is at the very least another Cacklian or something greater. But it hasn't emerged yet. The void beckons at the bottom of this shaft.
I mean, we crunched his buddy pretty easily. But I ain't taking no swan dive down there. You talking big talk? Why don't you come out and face us, bucko?
Yeah, show your ugly face.
Torque is
If you-
his head's kind of buzzing right now, so his trash talk is lacking.
Cock-a-poo-poo head. It responds. Very well. I'll consider that a summons. Now, is Paige still
Oh, I would have had Paige fly up on my turn.
okay? Good. Paige will not be obliterated then.
Yeah, that happens
As
way too often.
you indeed see the same tendrils, or of akin to the Cacklian, kind of starting to reach up much longer and bigger as they come out of this hole at the bottom and start to reach up the shaft. And the entity that emerges is much, much bigger
Oh boy,
than the previous.
that's a big one.
That's a big fella.
It'll be easy to hit.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, well, this is not a lie.
And that is where we will end off
Oh boy.
before we get into another combat and with the thing from space emerging into the hidden archives below the Museum of Antiquities in Valenhold. How did it get here? I guess we'll find out. But that is it for this evening. Next week we will be doing Legacy with Ian at the helm. The following week is March Break. I will not be here. We might be doing something else or taking a break. We'll kind of see what happens with that. But then following that, we'll be following up with some Legacy, and then back to back of Sea of Souls as well. So we got lots in store for you. So please come back for more and enjoy the content. Thank you everyone for participating in our little worlds and the fun that we get to have, and you're why we do it. I mean, we do it for the game, we do it for fun, but we're hoping to entertain you, so I hope that you are entertained by what we do. We'll catch you next time, and hopefully we'll have everybody all healthy and together for our next stream. But until then, happy gaming everyone, and stay safe. We'll see you later. Bye.
Healthy, wealthy, and wise.
all of the above. Yep. Bye.